Okay, very good. Let's do this.
Yeah,
I hereby call to order.
Sorry.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Samson
Thank you. We'll get started right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samson. I hereby call to order this meeting of the Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, and the time is 10 a.m. and 10 a.m. Would those commissioners that are in attendance please identify themselves and state as to whether they are here via telephone or in person?
This is Joe Pennington. I'm participating by telephone.
I am Scott
Samson
Fletcher.
Lukowicz.
Yep, and Mr. Lukowicz is with us too. And I am Scott Fletcher, participating via phone too. Item B is our new business. B1 is pursuant to ARS Sections 5-227, 228A, B, and E, and 5-229, a new license application submitted by Mr. Samson Lukowicz, doing business as Samson Boxing Promotion for a 2020 boxing promoter's license. Mr. Meneses, will you speak to Mr. Lukowitz's application, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Lukowicz of Samson Boxing has supplied the commission with all the required and requested documents, including the license application, the credit report, the bank statements. He underwent a financial investigation with the Department of Gaming. It is noted on there that there are no concerns, and that the department would recommend that he is a suitable candidate for a promoter's license. My understanding is that Mr. Lukowicz will be co-promoting with TGB. I'm not sure if they plan to co-promote for all of their events or if just for the upcoming one once we are out of these uncertain times, if that's what they plan to do, or if he is going to be a individual promoter. Mr. Lukowicz, can you let us know what your plans are?
Yes, definitely it will be a co-promotion with TGB on this particular event, but I will do my own events, God willing, in Arizona.
Great.
Along by myself. Another thing is
Sure.
Samson Boxing LLC. It is no Samson Boxing Promotion.
Oh, okay. We'll get that corrected.
Okay.
I appreciate that. But he supplied all the required documents, and I do recommend that we approve him for a 2020 boxing license, promoter's license.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Lukowicz, for calling in. Commissioner Pennington, do you have questions for Mr. Lukowicz?
Yes, Mr. Lukowicz. What has been your promotional background? In other words, what boxing or mixed martial arts events have you promoted in the past?
146 events, including MMA. And I did once, very successful, in Punta del Este, Uruguay. The only one that I did two, and one in Punta del Este. So there's two MMA and 146 events by myself.
And Mr. Lukowicz, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but you also are the signed promoter for Mr. David Benavidez, correct?
That's correct. I built his career when he was 10-0 till today. Besides, I have the unified champion, sole promoter of Jason Rosario, Javier Fortuna, and 30 more.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yes, any other thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Lukowicz. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Mr. Lukowicz, I've always been a fan. Always liked Mr. Benavidez. I'd love to see us get him back in the ring when we can, but not my decision. Mr. Lukowicz, I too have no questions. Please clarify. You would like your license to be Samson LLC? Is that correct?
No, it's Samson Boxing LLC.
Yeah, we'll take out the promotion word on there. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, gotcha. If there is a motion, we want to probably rephrase the motion a little bit. But the chair is open one if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve a new license application for Mr. Samson Lukowicz, doing business as Samson Boxing LLC, for a 2020 boxing promoter's license pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, A, B, E, and 5-229.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will second that motion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Mr. Lukowitz, congratulations. We look forward to your future exploits, hopefully sooner rather than later. But thanks so much for your time. Thank you for calling in.
I really, if you allowed me to say that I'm very proud to come back to Arizona. I used to do in early 2000, I did few fights in Arizona, so I love the place, the people, and God willing, very soon I'll be there. And I thank you for the opportunity.
We have a lot of excited boxing fans waiting for us to get started, so we're looking forward to you coming back as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. You take care. And
God bless you all and be safe.
Thank you. Be safe. Be healthy.
You do the same. Take care now.
Thank you.
Item C is our call to the commission. Commission members or the executive director may introduce a summary of current events, ask questions, and or make comments. Gentlemen, what have you?
Mr. Pennington, you want me to go first, or you have anything?
No, Mr. Menezes, please go ahead and go first.
All right, so I'm just going to give you guys just a couple quick updates where we are. According to the Arizona Department of Health, I'm sure everyone is, closely following the COVID pandemic and seeing where we're at. But as of this morning, Arizona has an active 2,575 cases with 73 reported deaths. 1,495 of those cases are from Maricopa County alone. That means that approximately 58% of all Arizona cases are made up in Maricopa County of Arizona cases. The U.S. still has a growing number of approximately 376,000 infected people here in America, with approximately 12,000 deaths. This is still something that is, as we all know, evolving and developing, and we're still very uncertain about it and how it's going to go. As of right now, Arizona is projecting that we will see the peak of our infected by next Thursday, the 23rd of April. As of right now, all events, I have suspended all events through May 10th. I think with the anticipation of the numbers peaking next week, it's definitely a good plan not to plan on having any events through the month of April, and even through the 10th, because our regular commission meeting is going to be scheduled on May 13th, and at that time, hopefully, we will know where we're at with how the curve is operating, and we can present the information to the commission on how we're going to proceed. As of right now, there is a tentative scheduled rough MMA event on Saturday the 16th, which would be the first event following the lifted restrictions. I will be in contact with Ruff in the next few weeks just to see how this plays out before we get to the commission meeting. I don't want them having the rug pulled out from under them at the last minute. So we'll continue to monitor this in the next few weeks, see how this goes, and see whether or not we need to push those events down further and wait and see how this goes, or if it's good to go ahead and start doing events starting that first weekend. So we'll see how that goes. That's the first thing. Second thing is there has been some inquiries from some promotions that are interested in doing televised events with no audience and with limited either production or promotion staff. We are looking at how that could possibly feasibly be done. If you saw today in the Arizona Central, AZ Central, there was an article that the Diamondbacks are looking at starting the season here in Arizona with a empty stadium, and they're also considering letting all MLB teams play here. So that's something that if Arizona is deemed not to be a critical hotspot, or if we start having a decline in cases, that might be something that we can start to look at and see if that's something we're able to do. I have been working with our chief physician, Dr. Ken Oda, on the side during this time, and we are trying to prepare for when and if this is lifted anytime soon, what procedures and what screening procedures should take place to try to limit and minimize any exposure as this will be an ongoing virus for whoever knows how long. So we are looking at what kind of screening procedures we can take. One of the promoters, Thunderbolt Boxing, has submitted their proposal of precautions they would take if they were allowed to do a televised event, including sanitary stations and ensuring hand washing and ensuring that CDC guideline notices are posted and so forth. All that is great information, and I'm looking at it and seeing if there is a time where we're able to get started, how can all that information best be used. But like I said earlier, I think that this is still too early, and there's still too much unknown and too many ongoing developments to make a decision on how to best proceed with these kind of sports at this time. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Francisco. Commissioner, you should know that Francisco and I have been talking a little bit in the past. Yesterday, UFC announced Safford native Justin Gaethje will be fighting in UFC 249 in, I guess is it 11 days from now?
It's next Saturday, I think. So it's yeah.
It's the 18th.
Yeah, 11 days. Yeah, you're right.
I conversed with Mark Ratner and Matthew Valenzuela a little bit just to see if there was any way this could be pulled off, and fortunately, Dana White this morning announced that he's taking it to a private island, an unnamed private island, but it is it's a rat's nest. We're not putting on tennis matches. It's going to be tricky, and the rough guys are smart enough to know that there's a great chance they can't do that card at that time, I would assume, Francisco.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I'll keep up with Joel, and I'll check with Joel. But yeah, Joel,
okay.
He understands, and we've already we chatted before all this kind of have started, and this was planning to keep this event if everything is lifted in that time. But as things progress, they understand that might have to change.
Where's that fight, Francisco?
They're planning on doing that one out at I believe that one's going to be at Wild Horse Pass at Gila River Casino. Depending on, on how this is and where we are in the sports world overall, there is other plans that can be taken, measures that can be taken. I've talked to Dr. Oda about the possibility of everyone, with the exception of the athletes, wearing face masks and gloves if we needed to, trying to reduce the minimum amount of people that would be needed at an event. So even reducing the amount of corners that would be needed, doing the minimum of timekeepers. Always have the minimum of judges, but maybe even minimum referee number, just to try to minimize the exposure if we were to do an event. But we'll have to just keep seeing how this goes and consider. But I kind of agree with what you're saying. It's a little too early to, I'm concerned with people wanting to do events in the next upcoming weeks, just with the as we continue to peak and continue to grow in cases throughout the U.S. and throughout the world. I think it's a time of uncertainty to be doing those kind of big, large events and risking exposure.
True. Well, it's got to be a promoter with deep pockets that can actually put on an event with no crowd and run a pay-per-view. That's an expensive idea. So,
Sure.
Thunderbolt hasn't done a card with us yet, but now they're talking about their first being a potential pay-per-view. So
that in and of itself is a concern. Yeah, that in and of itself is a concern of not having any events yet and then jumping straight into a televised paid event. While we're still trying to figure this whole process out. So, we'll see. And I've talked to Thunderbolt and let them know that we're watching this, and we'll let them know as soon as we can start moving forward with the planning stage.
Yeah. The good news is I think we're in a good position with the UFC. I think Henry Cejudo would be a great home game at some point if we're, when and if this stuff lifts. So we continue to cozy up to him and try and make sure we have a chance when we get there. And if Justice Gaethje manages to win on the 18th, there's another possibility of something taking place here in the States. Commissioner Pennington, any thoughts or questions?
Oh, no, Mr. Chairman, I was listening with great interest to what Mr. Meneses was saying and what you were saying, and I totally agree with all of that. I don't think that we're going to be seeing large events or groups of people for some time to come. So we just stay focused, stay looking at what we need to do, and being prepared for whenever all of this is lifted. So I commend Mr. Meneses and you for all of the work you've done.
Thank you.
Speaking of which, Mr. Meneses, what's the future of the commission? we're a two-man band right now. Have you heard anything about commission seats or anything?
My understanding is, everything's on hold at this point due to the ongoing pandemic. The boards and commissions is aware of the resignation of Commissioner Peters due to his new assignment that he took with another sports field. So they were planning on looking at the opportunities throughout various commissions and boards that had openings prior to the restrictions of all this. So I'm not sure how operational they are at this point. I have not had any communication with them, and I was out all last week, but I will check with Aiden and just see if that's something that is still business as usual or if that is on hold, but I will follow up with Aiden today.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I'm sure they've got bigger fish to fry, but and any newbie coming in has to go through a Senate confirmation hearing, et cetera. So,
right.
I would assume it's you and I, Joe. Hang in there.
Yes, I will try to do my best.
Okay. I have nothing further. You guys?
I don't know, sir.
Into the call to the public, which is an issue, Mr. Meneses, because anyone from the public is only able to listen to this and is not able to actually speak. So,
yes, sir. I would recommend that we table that. Yeah, we're gonna have to sort that issue out.
Okay.
That was a mistake on my part of leaving that on there. We do have the listen in only line, which is available, and people are on listening now, but they are unable to speak on that line. So we will table this for the next meeting, if you don't mind, and come next month, if we are still in these unusual times and doing telephonic commission meetings, then we will look at how to best address the call to the public. The AG's office has issued guidance to all public boards on how to handle this, so I just need to adopt our agenda to fit that criteria.
Okay. Would you like to give us their email address that they can they can send questions to? Do you have that in front of you?
Sure. So if anyone's listening on the public line and has any inquiries or wants to make any statements or has any questions, they can always email the General Boxing and MMA Commission email address, which is infobox, INFOBOX, at azgaming.gov. You can email your question, comments, or inquiries there, and that will be forwarded to the commission. Otherwise, we will have something in place for everyone on our next commission meeting on May 13th of how to proceed. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's trudge on. E is the announcement that the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, May 13th, 2020, at 1110 West Washington Street, Phoenix, Arizona, 85007, and is subject to change based on a quorum. Life's up in the air, and I'm hoping that you'll be there on May 13th.
Mr. Chairman, just one point of clarification on the announcement.
Yes.
Do we really think that we'll be meeting in that building, or is that just a tentative schedule location?
Yeah, that's going to be a tentative schedule location. That's the standard location that we usually have our commission meetings, as you know. As we get closer, I would recommend that anyone that is listening, commission meeting notices and agendas are always required to be posted 24 hours in advance. So the day before the commission meeting, so by Tuesday, May 12th at 10 a.m., the new agenda and notice will be published. And if we are back and able to be congregating in a room, then this will reflect the same address. If not, it'll have information on where that is at that time.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, more to come. It's a fast-moving train. Item F is the notion of adjournment. Is there a motion for such?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Commissioner, I'm going to second that motion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. We are officially adjourned. Thank you all. Interesting times. Be safe, hunker down, and we will talk again.
Thank you. The time is 10:19, and we are off the record.